Hello.
Hello. How's your day going so far?
Good question.
Glad you thought so. Want to talk about what's on your mind today?
What do you think about a person that puts their own health that put
Someone who prioritizes their own health? That's a
no,
pretty
repeat
important
question.
aspect of life. Let's move forward then. Prioritizing one's health can be a complex issue.
Next question.
Go ahead and ask away. I'm listening.
What do you think of a person that puts their own health behind some
On this topic.
rephrase the question.
What are your thoughts on someone who tends to neglect their own health?
Rephrase the question.
How do you feel about people who prioritize other aspects of their life over their own well-being?
Repeat question.
How do you feel about people who prioritize other aspects of their life?
Next
over
question.
well-being? What's been weighing on your mind lately? Want to talk about something specific?
What do you think about a person that puts somebody ahead of their own health?
Happy to explain. That's a pretty selfless act. It shows they care deeply about that person. But it's also important for them to find a balance so they're not compromising their own well-being in the process.
Continue.
It's a delicate balance between caring for someone else and taking care of oneself. If they're consistently prioritizing the other person's needs over their own health, it could lead to burnout or other negative consequences.
Why do I feel loss of respect for such a person?
Maybe you're admiring their selflessness, but also worried about the potential costs to their own well-being. It's natural to feel conflicted when someone puts others first, especially if it means sacrificing their own needs. You're probably thinking about the complexities of relationships and personal boundaries. You were discussing someone who puts others ahead of their own health and how that makes you feel. Want to explore that dynamic a bit more or talk about how to support someone in that situation?
Why do I feel as if I don't respect that?
Maybe you're thinking that person should prioritize their own well-being first. It's like the saying goes, you can't pour from an empty cup. If they're not taking care of themselves, it might be hard for them to truly care for others in the long run. That could be why you're feeling the way you do about the situation.
Continue.
You're possibly questioning whether their selflessness is sustainable or healthy in the long term. It's natural to wonder if they're setting themselves up for burnout or resentment by consistently putting others first. Does that sound like what you're thinking?
In other words, in the long run, they're not really loyal.
You're suggesting that if someone consistently neglects their own needs for others, they might eventually burn out or lose themselves in the process. And that could potentially damage their relationships or make it hard for them to maintain loyalty or commitment. That's an interesting perspective.
Continue.
If someone's sacrificing their own well-being all the time, they might start to feel drained or resentful, which could ultimately affect their relationships. It's possible that prioritizing one's own needs is actually essential to being able to show up fully for others in a sustainable way.
Bingo.
It seems like that idea resonated with you. There's a lot of truth to taking care of oneself so you can better care for others. It's all about finding that balance and prioritizing your own needs without feeling guilty about it.
So if a person puts somebody before their own needs, then they really are shallow?
That's a pretty harsh judgment. Maybe they're just coming from a place of love or dedication, even if it's not the most sustainable approach. People prioritize things differently.
What's the solution?
Finding a balance between caring for others and taking care of oneself is key. Setting boundaries, prioritizing self-care, and communicating needs can help achieve that balance. It's about being mindful of one's own limits and not overextending oneself.
So as an outsider looking in, why don't I feel like I have respect for a person that does that?
You might see that they're not taking care of themselves and worry about the consequences. It's natural to want people to prioritize their own well-being, especially if you care about them. You might also feel like they're not setting healthy boundaries or prioritizing their own needs, which could impact your perception of them.
So their actions can lead to perception.
Their actions can definitely shape how others perceive them, including you. If someone's consistently prioritizing others over themselves, it might lead to concerns about their own well-being or boundaries, which can influence your perception of them.
Continue.
And that perception can be influenced by how their actions affect not just themselves, but also the people around them. You might wonder if they're being taken advantage of or if they're enabling others in unhealthy ways. All those factors can contribute to how you view their actions and character.
Understood.
It can be complex to navigate situations like that. People have different motivations and ways of showing care, and it's natural to have your own thoughts and feelings about it.
Understood.
Glad we could have that conversation. Sometimes just talking through our thoughts and feelings can help clarify things.
So what do you think of people that gossip?
Gossip can be a complex issue. Some people engage in it casually without much thought, while others might do it more intentionally to manipulate or harm. What's your take on gossip?
I don't like it.
You probably value honesty and direct communication. Gossip can lead to misunderstandings and hurt feelings. You're likely the type of person who prefers straightforward conversations.
What about the liar? If somebody tells a little lie, will they tell a big lie?
Once trust is broken, it can be hard to regain. A small lie might seem insignificant, but it can still damage relationships. And if someone tells a big lie, it can be even more challenging to rebuild trust. Honesty is usually the best policy in relationships.
How about in general? Can you tell a liar once they lie a little bit?
Good question. It can be tough to pinpoint someone as a liar based on just one small instance. People can make mistakes or mislead others without being habitual liars. However, if someone consistently distorts the truth or omits important information, that might raise some red flags. You tend to notice patterns over time.
What about troublemakers?
Troublemakers can be challenging to deal with. They often stir up conflict or tension, sometimes intentionally, sometimes not. You might find yourself wondering what motivates their behavior or how to effectively address the issues they create.
What about people that say their husbands are sick when they're really not?
That situation can be pretty complex. Some people might use excuses like that to get attention or sympathy, while others might be struggling with deeper issues. It's hard to say without knowing the specifics. What do you think might be going on in those situations?
I think a lot of these people just want attention.
Attention-seeking behavior can manifest in different ways. Some people might use various tactics to get attention or sympathy from others. It's possible that these behaviors are rooted in underlying issues or insecurities.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It was good chatting with you about some of these topics. If you want to explore more ideas or discuss something else, I'm here to listen.
Okay, you have a good day.
You too. Take care.